The 2025 season is over for the Philadelphia Phillies, and we have our first major update of the offseason regarding Phillies manager Rob Thomson and the future of this Phillies team with their manager. We're going to get into all of that today on the newest episode of Phillies Digest here. My name is Luke Arcaini. Thank you guys for joining me today. And the big news today across the Phillies world, I don't know if some people want to hear this, some people don't want to hear this, but this is our first big update as far as the future of the Phillies. Rob Thomson will return for the 2026 season. It was first officially reported by John Heyman and Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Multiple sources confirmed across the league, and that's kind of where we're at. Rob Thomson is safe for 2026. Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson, who is officially returning as manager of the 2026 Phillies, both will speak to the media on Thursday at 11 a.m. at Citizens Bank Park. If there are changes to the coaching staff, which I do believe there should be and there will be, we'll probably hear of them then, unless anything obviously leaks early before that. But I think this is easily, the first major step towards the 2026 Phillies. I think before you do anything, you have to figure out if your manager will move on to the next year. While I don't think Rob Thomson is a perfect manager, I think Rob Thomson has done a really good job with this team. I truly do. I think his bullpen managing has got better over the years. I don't think he handled the bunt the right way in game 2. Maybe Robertson shouldn't have came back out in game 1. But overall, if you look over how Rob Thomson has done throughout these years with the Phillies, it's hard for me to sit here and put him on there as, the reason that this thing has collapsed for them. Rob Thomson is the 4th manager in MLB history to reach the postseason in each of his first 4 seasons with a team. Yes, I completely understand that, that has not, led to a World Series. But, as we speak right now, I don't know many people, it's hard for me to sit here and say that Rob Thomson is the reason why this Phillies team isn't winning the World Series. When it comes down to it, the stars are underperforming. And if Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Kyle Schwarber aren't hitting the ball in the postseason, I don't care who's managing, you're not going to win. Yes. And, the flip side to the always, happens a lot manager argument is, well, sometimes, they just need a fresh voice. And, that is something I completely do understand. I think a fresh voice can help, especially with a core group of veterans. Getting a veteran voice in there, I think could have helped them. But overall, I think the Phillies believe that Rob Thomson is the man for this job, and the players love their manager. Other than the Nick Castellanos, thing where he got subbed out for defense back in Miami earlier in the year, you never really hear anybody on this team say a bad word about Rob Thomson. And I think that speaks a lot because I think, that is a situation that happens quite frequently across baseball. Rob Thomson the other night, after the Phillies got eliminated in Game 4, he was asked about the future of his job, and he said, I'm not even thinking about my job right now. I've got 60 people in there that are brokenhearted right now. I'm thinking about that a lot more than my job right now. So, once again, Rob Thomson will return. Now, this is where I think things could get a little interesting. Because you go down and you look at this coaching staff that is with Rob Thomson, and while I believe Rob Thomson is the man for this job, and I think Rob Thomson can win a World Series, I think it gets to a point where you have to change things. The biggest one for me is I think you have to move on from Kevin Long. I really do. I think, if you're going to change something, right, it needs to be the coach of the group that's let the team down in the playoffs for the last 3 seasons. I think Kevin Long has had his positives. I think Kevin Long has really turned Kyle Schwarber's career around. I think Kevin Long, has helped Bryson Stott improve at the plate and has helped Alec Boehm improve at the plate. I think Kevin Long was a big reason why Brandon Marsh, has turned into a good, hitter against right-handed pitching. I know I'm saying all this after they just went out, but at the same time, you have to think about what happened in the regular season as well. Kevin Long, I think, is the most likely coach to potentially go. I think third base coach could go. Maybe Paco and Dusty. I don't think they're the best base running team. It's hard to say because, where do they see their weaknesses? I don't believe to see Caleb Cotham going anywhere. He is one of the best pitching coaches in baseball, but I think Kevin Long, Dusty Wathan, Paco Figueroa, maybe Bobby Dickerson. Obviously, I think if Kevin Long were to go, I think the assistant hitting coaches would probably go as well. But, it just kind of depends where they feel like they need to go in the direction with this team. Obviously, Rob Thomson is now staying. But it comes down to it. The only thing that I see with Kevin Long is, Kevin Long was one of the biggest reasons that Kyle Schwarber's career was completely turned around once he got to Philly. If the Phillies are trying to re-sign Schwarber, is it going to hurt them if they lose Kevin Long? And, maybe Kyle Schwarber realizes that, hey, even if we got a new hitting coach in here, I can still be the Schwarber I am. But would losing Kevin Long hurt your chances of re-signing Kyle Schwarber? I don't know. And that's where the Phillies kind of need to think about things here. I'm expecting to hear of any coaching changes this Thursday once again. Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson will meet with the media on Thursday at 11 a.m. down at Citizens Bank Park. I'll be down there, so all updates you'll see on Twitter at Arcaini Luke if you aren't following me already. But once again, biggest news of the day, Rob Thomson remains as the Phillies manager. And, I kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts because I think, when you go around, the city, I would say, or the pulse of the team, I think more tend to lean to they wish Thomson got fired just because, a new voice is sort of needed. Sorry, I was running into some issues here. A new voice is, maybe needed. But overall, when it comes down to it, I think Rob Thomson is a good manager. I don't think he's perfect. I don't think any manager's perfect. The Dodgers won the World Series last year when Dave Roberts was... I don't think Dave Roberts is a great manager. Dodgers won the World Series because they're loaded. I think you can win a World Series with an average to slightly above average manager. And I think Rob Thomson is a slightly above average manager. I don't think he's perfect. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a good manager across Major League Baseball. And I think the Phillies believe they can do it with him. And when it comes down to it, once again, your players have to execute. It doesn't matter if I'm managing, Rob Thompson's managing. If Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Kyle Schwarber don't hit a baseball, it doesn't matter who the coach is. It just doesn't matter. I get, the other side of the argument. You need a fresh voice. But the Phillies don't believe that because the Phillies, they know how much the players appreciate and like and enjoy playing for Rob Thomson. And I think the Phillies believe that they can win a World Series with Topper as well, But I think this comes down to they can win a World Series with Rob Thomson, but Dave Dombrowski has to improve this roster, and he has to shake something up somewhere. But that shakeup will not be coming at manager once again. This has been the newest episode of Phillies Digest. Rob Thomson will be back for the 2026 season as the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. My name is Luke Arcaini, and I will see you guys next time.